We are glad to see everyone here today. It's always a pleasure to induct a new class into the Half Century Club. In 1962, Dr. James E. Major, he's also the class of 40 and the first vice president for development, launched the Half Century Club with a reunion of the class of 1912. Thank you for joining us for the 61st anniversary of the Half Century Club. I look forward to my induction in 2032. So anyway, please join me in expressing our appreciation to Dawn Hearn, Chef Brian Cottle, and Andrea Hawkins and the entire dining services staff. We would like to recognize our current, former, retired, and emeritus faculty and staff with us today. If you would please stand. Sharon. Okay. Tomorrow we will honor this year's recipients of the Alumni Association Awards. Anna Patterson Strong, class of 04, will receive the Hendricks Humanitarian Award. Former Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Jim Wilchin, will receive the James E. Major Service Award. Brad Howard, class of 2006, will receive the Outstanding Young Alumnus Award. And Dr. Rock Jones, class of 1980, will receive the Distinguished Alumnus Award. We have several previous recipients of alumni awards here today. Would you please stand so we can recognize you? Okay. Are there any former or current members of the Alumni Association Board of Governors here with us today? We'd like for you to stand to be recognized. And I see some of you. Yeah. Would members, okay, I think that covers everybody. Okay, so President Ellis Arnold, class of 1979, is the 12th president of Hendricks. He will be greetings on behalf of the college.
Find my script. Good morning. Good to see everyone, and welcome back to campus. We're thrilled to have you here and couldn't be more excited to kick off and begin the Alumni Weekend by honoring the class of 1973 and their induction into the Half Century Club. This event's always been one of my favorites, and I can actually still recall the very first time I participated in the Half Century Club banquet back in April of 1991. It's hard to believe, but at that time we were inducting the class of 1941. I remember being in this room and looking around and thinking, that's a whole lot of old people. Because I was 34 years of age at that time, and now as I looked through the Half Century Club booklet and looked at all the folks who are being inducted today, I realized that I probably knew at least 3/4 of you, and I thought, yeah, it's our time, so we're glad you're here. But regardless of what decade the newest members of the Half Century Club were from, there's always been a common theme to each Half Century Club lunch. It's always been a time of reminiscing, telling stories, recalling specific events like they occurred yesterday, and a whole lot of embellishing. This event seems to prompt conversations and stir up fond memories of faculty members who were advisors and mentors, or maybe just a favorite class. And of course, for some, there are cherished memories of classmates who have passed away too early in life. But today is a celebration, a time to enjoy the campus once again, and those of you who you may not have seen or met since 1969. For some of you, this may be the first time that you've been back to campus in decades. For others, you may have come back home to Hendricks more frequently. As you stroll the campus this weekend, you may not recognize some of the buildings. You may have wondered what happened to Grove Gym, which was fairly new when you arrived as a freshman. And of course, this building sits on that very footprint. And what happened to Hewlin? Well, I invite you to go upstairs and see our award-winning dining service and our dining hall, which was designed with a cathedral ceiling reminiscent of Green Chapel. And Hewlin? Well, you must visit the Miller Center Creative Quad, which sits where Hewlin once stood and is now the home of our music department, a film studies auditorium, student residences on the top levels, and our fabulous Wingate Museum. And pay particular attention to the tiles on the south wing of the building which houses our music program. Those tiles that you will see came from the roof of Hewlin Hall. We just had to find a way to keep the spirit of Hewlin alive. This campus has truly been transformed over the last 15 years with the benefit of 2 fundraising campaigns and over $250 million in gifts. But despite the physical changes to campus, our mission has remained constant, and today's students are having the same life-changing and transformational experiences that you did. Finally, I want you to know that your alma mater has not merely survived COVID these last few years, but has made tremendous progress. While many institutions were treading water and simply trying to survive, we were bold and innovative, knowing that we could improve the trajectory of the college in the midst of a pandemic. During these last few years, we have positioned ourselves to succeed in an incredibly competitive environment. In the midst of COVID, we successfully launched our tuition reset, lowering the sticker price of tuition by 32%, demonstrating our commitment to access and affordability. We created the Hendrix 5 program for students whose lives were disrupted by COVID, providing a pathway for them to attend Hendrix for a 5th year if that was needed. We have received a record number of applications for admission the last 2 years. We reached our campaign goal of $110 million a year ahead of schedule during the pandemic. Instead of pausing and celebrating that accomplishment, we wanted to find a way during the midst of COVID to create additional momentum for the college, and we relaunched and expanded the campaign with a new goal of $150 million, and we raised $40 million over the next 2 years to meet that goal ahead of schedule. We developed a multi-year compensation plan for the faculty and staff and secured major funding for support of that plan. And as we worked to fully incorporate career competencies throughout our curriculum, we piloted a new program called Life Launch last summer, a career exploration program for rising high school juniors and seniors, further demonstrating our commitment to helping students connect the dots from their passion to vocation and positioning Hendrix as a national leader in that area. None of this would have been possible without the dedication and the tireless efforts of a committed faculty and staff and the tremendous support of our alumni. So as I prepare to retire from Hendrix in about 6 weeks, I want to express my deep gratitude for all those who have worked so hard these last few years and thank each of you for being a part of the Hendrix family. The true measure of the college's success through the years is not measured by the campaigns nor new buildings, but is measured by the lives of our alumni and the impact that you've made on your communities and the world. The class of 1973 is a remarkable example and a remarkable class, and you've made your alma mater very proud. Welcome back to campus, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Ellis. Before we begin our recognition of this year's inductees, we want to give a special thanks to the members of the class of 1973's Reunion Planning Committee. If you would all please stand as your name is read. Robin Rumpf, Martha Crowfoot Bumpers, Pam Porter Wren, she's coming. Okay. Carol Foppel Mendel. Barbara Baker Satterfield. Julie Smith Wiedauer. I know Pam Ferguson McPherson is not here, but Randy McPherson is. If you would stand. Yeah, thank you. For many, many years, the format of the Half Century Club has been pretty much the same. For many current members, the idea of changing may be shocking. We promise we aren't changing only for the sake of change. This year, we have quite a few members to be inducted. So what we've decided to do is change it a little bit so it'll move a little bit more swiftly. In a moment, we will ask the members of the class of 1973 to come forward in two groups to receive your medallions. And I don't think we're going to have to do the groups because of the way the room was able to be set. But I do have a question, though. I'd like to see if you are the member of the class of 1973, and if you're not sitting at a table that's marked as 1973, please raise your hand. Okay, if you all would come over here and sit in these chairs, we have some chairs right here. And I promise there's a reason for this, because we are going to do something a little bit differently than we've normally done. It'll make everything go a little bit quicker, and just the members of 73 that aren't at a 73 table. You're not in trouble at all. It's just that this will make it go a little bit quicker. We thought we were going to need to move everybody to the chairs, but I don't think we're going to. We're just going to have just a couple of people.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the fact that we have to move away from the podium for people to pass through illustrates that we're a full house for sure. We promised in the letter that you received in July of 2022 that you'd have an opportunity to share a very, 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 very brief remark. And we promise that you will. But first, we want everyone to receive his or her medallion. And we're going to call your name alphabetically, and President Arnold will drape your medallion, assisted by the lovely Jamie Brainerd, who has come from retirement to join our office again. So she's going to help Ellis keep the line going. For the women of the class of 1973, the alumnae will be called forward by your maiden name. This is the same order you were listed in your Half Century Club booklet, and also the name your classmates knew you when you were a student. For the gentlemen of the class of 1973, alumni will be called by your last name. No need to worry about the order. Well, anyway, okay, I'll skip that part because we got that. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and start, and we're going to start with David Alford. Barbara Baker Satterfield. Dawn Benefield Vandiver. Keith Berry. Margaret Boast Faulkner. There she is. Cynthia Bowen Blanchard. Robert Bumpus. Martha Crowfoot Bumpers. Carl Crow. Alan Eastham. Gary Faulkner. Carol Fopple Mendel. Yeah. Clark Fincher. Thank you. Cindy Forgy Grace. Hey, Cindy, you can go back to your table now. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Rick Gallagher. Bill Gibbs. Mary Jane Goss Pierce. Susan Hazelbaker Smyer. Sherry Henry McBride. Mary Keck Abel. Ray Kordsmeyer. Bob Lambert. Ed Langley. Mary Lester. Luke Lucas. Chester Lucas. Luke Lucas. Cliff McBride. Ron McDonald. Randy McPherson. Pam Mooney Henley. Connie Moore Gallagher. Sally Mosley Wade. Pam Porter Wren. Susan Reed Koziak. Bill Reed. Louise Rice Fox. Oh, okay. Bill Pollard. Kirk Riley. Robin Rumpf. Robin was the first person on the call back in the fall to start planning this event, so. Ann Russell Huffman. Elizabeth C. Scott. Linda Sloan Norwood. Julie Smith Wiedauer. Bill Temple. Peter Thomas. Eddie Tyler. Bill Wiedauer. Grant Williams. Richard Wilson. Is there anyone else from the class of 1973 that I missed in the room that does not have their medallion? And I'm sorry, Bill, that I hugged Sharon and I got out of order there. But anyway, is there anyone in the room that has not received their medallion from a previous class? Please come forward and have a seat, and then you can come up and tell us who you are. Yeah. Yes. We're going to use those seats later on, too, so.
Would you like to say your name? Should I start? I'm Patty Porter Hendricks. I live in Colorado Springs, and this is the first time I've been able to come to an alumni weekend, so I'm thrilled to be here. What's your class? Oh, I'm the class of 1971 during COVID.
Keep it short. Okay, next, Susan Ferris Board, and I'm also class of 71.
I'm Grace Ellen Rice, and class of 71.
Beth Butler, Van Tassel, class of 71. Betsy Norwood, class of 1971.
Martha Clardy Chamness, class of 71.
Joe Coonan, class of 72.
I'm gonna do two. I represent the class of 1968 for both myself, John Turba, and my roommate, Bill Harrison.
Rick Reagan's class of 72.
Charlie Blanchard, class of 1972.
Lyman Barger, class of 63.
I believe that's everybody to receive their medallion. Let's give a round of applause for the newest members of the Half Century Club. For everyone that received their medallion today, this is your opportunity to share a very, very, very brief memory or recollection of your time at Hendrix. We've been told by some people that they love to share their quick remarks, and then we love to always hear them. But for some other members, they are happiest just listening. So we're taking everyone into consideration on that. For those of you who received a medallion today, if you wish to share a memory with everyone, you're welcome to, and we're going to ask that you move forward to the front chairs. So that will be quicker to come to the microphone and quicker to hear everyone's stories. Are you telling me there's no takers? Yeah. You're starting the trend, Mary. Come on over here. Let her come over here. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Okay, let me hold this up. Is this all right? Okay, I think all of us have kind of been thinking about these stories as we've kind of made the trek up here. And it's kind of funny what pops into your head, because I was a math major and I loved teaching math for 30-something years, but I always had the heart of a storyteller, and I told stories to the kids. And I think, and I actually have, gosh, I got to cut this, and I actually got to be in like a film with Francis Ford Coppola directing, but I realized then I don't want to do that anymore, and so then, but I still get residuals, so that's cool. So back to Hendrix. So we had this musical called Frank Merriwell, and it was just delightful. I still can't dance, but I can get up and tell a story. And so, and the reason I got to be in there was that Martha Crowfoot decided she didn't want to be in there. And so then I was the one that got picked, and it's encouraged the performer that I truly am. But I sure did love teaching school, and I was a performer there. And thank you for Hendrix and all of all of the wonderful friendships. And all, my P.S. is that in the book it says I'm Mary Lester Williams, but I'm Mary Lester. I'm not Williams anymore. I can get my prescriptions at the drugstore on the first try, because otherwise I never could. Anyway, bless y'all. Sparkle on. All right.
How many of you guys in this room are old enough to remember the beer runs? A few of you guys remember the beer runs? You remember I'm going to go over that. Remember Dr. Merriweather? Bring all the guys in the room and starts bragging about kicking a guy out for drinking beer in a 50 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask, for those of you who are pre-med. Well, I lived in Couch Hall on the first floor, and all of a sudden, Meriwether's coming for us. You can't imagine how many cans of beer got thrown out the back of Couch Hall. Now, Couch Hall, back when I was there, I mean, you actually had a field behind Couch Hall. I mean, now you can't do anything without running into somebody. So all this beer goes flying out, and I don't know if any of y'all old remember Larry Dobbs. He was a doc in our pre-med class. My roommate, Bill Harrison, and I mean, we took off with our beer and hopped in his Volkswagen. They weren't going to get that. And here comes Larry Dobbs running out of the dorm, Meriwether running after him, jumping in this Volkswagen with us, and off we went, waving at Dr. Meriwether. Another story about Meriwether, we had some pretty good baseball players when I went to Hendricks, but no baseball team. So we went to Meriwether and said, "Can we have a baseball team?" He says, "Nah, we don't have reprobates on our team." Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
My name is Patty Porter Hendricks. As I said earlier, I was a PE major and also worked for Coach Courtway, Coach McCaskill, and Coach Hutto in the gym, Ivan Grove Gym, and spent many hours in the gym. So I kind of developed the nickname PE Patty. And I have a lot of Hendricks friends who still call me PE Patty. So I have very fond memories of Hendricks. I moved to Colorado to teach school. That's where I'm from originally. And married Michael Hendricks. So I've carried on Hendricks College and being a Patty Porter Hendricks. Thank you.
All right, I am, excuse me, Chester Luke Lucas. Most people only knew me as Luke. Came from Brinkley. Coach Hutto recruited me and 3 other of my best friends from the All-State team that year in '69. Larry Lowe, Danny Thomas, and Tom Benson, and I were all together. And I just want to acknowledge that because Danny and Larry are no longer with us. Danny was my roommate for 3 years. And Larry and I and Danny remained excuse me, in touch to the end, I guess. But a couple of quick stories. And mostly, if you weren't involved in the athletic program, you may not be able to identify with it so much. But we all stayed in Couch Hall. And there was a bunch of kind of rowdy guys on that team back then. I don't know if you remember Al Davison and Dwayne Nash. And, they were some rough guys. So one night we were all in the room, and there are, unfortunately, not proud of it, a couple of guys on the team that smoked cigarettes, drank a little beer and wine from time to time. So we're in the room one night, should have been lights out. We had a game the next day, and all of a sudden, Coach Hutto decides to walk the halls looking for the team. And someone's knocking on the door, and we're all sitting in there drinking beer, drinking wine, smoking cigarettes. Danny Thomas gets up and goes to the door, and he opens the door, and he looks at the door, and he slams the door. He turns around, and he goes, "It's Coach." So we went to spraying the deodorant and everything all over the room and get out of it, and we sat there and looked like some real dummy ball players that we were. So, but that was one of the jokes that we laughed about forever. So there were some others, and I really won't get into them. I had a couple. I'm getting up. But I had a great time here at Hendricks. There was always something fun and exciting. Oh, I know one other one. When I was in the Student Senate, ended up being the representative from Couch Hall, and we're sitting in a Student Senate meeting one evening, and someone stood up and asked for the KKK report. And I went, what? And they all put their arms around me and consoled me. They said, that's the campus kitty committee. Okay.
Hi, I'm Sally Mosley, and I always thought I was the last person to get into Hendrix. My boyfriend was here, Eston Williams, and he broke up with me that first semester. But anyway, I did anything I could to get into Hendrix. My grades weren't really good, but my SAT scores were good. So I checked that I'd be a religion major because I thought, you know, maybe they'd let me in to be a religion major. So I wasn't a religion major. And my roommate, God bless her soul, was Jeannie Harris. You may remember Jeannie. So Jeannie was a wild, fun person. And we lived off campus. We really were I was the last person to get in because we lived off campus in a house that was owned by Hendrix across the street. So we were both in philosophy. We thought we were really smart because we both got into Hendrix. And we were in philosophy class, and we decided, you know, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it fall? So we thought, if the room isn't clean but no one sees it, so we decided we wouldn't clean our room. And that lasted about, oh gosh, maybe over a semester. Because I remember it was during the time my mother called and left a message that if I didn't come home, she wasn't going to send me any more money. Anyway, the dean of the women's, what was her name? Oh, boy, I was scared of her. Were you scared of her? Yeah. She was like, if you have smoking or sitting down under a roof. And anyway, so she left us a note that we were going to be expelled from Hendrix if we didn't clean our room. So anyway, we did. But Jeannie was so much fun, and I just want to remember her while we're here.
I'm going to be brief because my husband tells me I talk too much sometimes. I'm Linda Sloan Norwood. I am a native of Van Buren, Arkansas, Crawford County, and I was here in 1973. And I have memories of Hendrix. There was a girl that went to school here when I did. Her name was Donna Crawford. And her father was a minister, and my fondest memories was going home. My dad in that old 71 blue pickup. Every Friday, I'd look out the window at VC Hall, and he would be rolling up in that 71 pickup. And they would tell me that I could stay at home, you know, for the weekends. And I said, well, I'd like to get back to Hendrix because I want to go visit Donna. Her dad and Mom, they always had dinner for kids at their church. You know, not that I really wanted to have a dinner. It was good, but I just wanted to, you know, meet the people. And I really enjoyed doing that. And another fond memory was going out the campus there up at VC. I told my husband, I said, I used to be able to walk out of that building some way and walk straight downtown and go to Fred's. Is Fred still there? Okay, Fred's is not there anymore, and I doubt that I would know how to get down there. because I couldn't even find VC. I had to ask where that was. But anyway, I'm going to say something, and it's taken me years, and I said, well, if I ever have a chance, I'll say it, but I don't know how people would take it. I'd like to thank Hendricks College for allowing me to be a part of the program here, because when I got my degree, I was working on teaching. I always wanted to teach. I loved history, and that's what I thought that I would do once I completed my degree here. But once I completed, I went back home to Van Buren, and I decided, well, I'm a little tired, and I think I'm just going to work here, there, which I did. This daycare, that Head Start program, well, you don't need to do this, you've got a degree. I said, well, this is what I like to do. So due to the fact that I had graduated from Hendricks, I got to go back and do what I really love, teaching elementary school. And I taught first grade from the time that I started up until when did I retire? 2007, it was 25 years or something like that, 30 some odd years. So I just really enjoyed it. And then what really was special was when I came to Hendricks, there weren't too many people in my part of the state that could say that they went here and they looked like me. And I find that kind of funny because I think I was the only one that was coming from Van Buren, Arkansas, to attend college here. And I'm going to tell this, and I'm going to get out, let somebody else talk. When I got my first job, it was at Sophia Maya Elementary, Van Buren, Arkansas. And I remember the principal, I was going to do the student teaching, and he didn't say anything. He's just sort of looked at me, and the secretary had on glasses, and she did a double take, you know, but nobody really said anything. So I went and I enjoyed everything, and I was supposed to go in and substitute for the first grade teacher. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So she was going to have kidney stones removed, I believe, and I think it was about a week or so that she was supposed to be out, and she said, well, I'll be back. But she did not get back. She passed on, Miss Gregg. And I remember that my first class, I told them that Miss Gregg had passed on. Secretary said she'd do it. I said, no, I'll do it because I'm going to have to teach them till, you know. And so they said, Miss Gregg passed on? I said, yes, she's not coming back. And so I made the comment to them. I said, I'm going to be here until they find another teacher for you. They said, we don't want another teacher. We want you. And everybody would get up and embrace me. And they did this every day. And after 20 some odd years or something like that, I see him in the store. We just took him to surgery. And one of the kids, not a kid now, she's 30 some odd years old, she said, oh yeah, that used to be my teacher. Oh yeah, you were my favorite teacher. They made me feel very special. And this was just something that we used to, you know, do our work with, a color, stuff like that. And I want to say thank you so much, Hendricks College, because every time I said that I went to Hendricks College, I really felt special. My folks didn't have any money or anything like that, you know, and so they all looked. Well, wonder how she got there. Doesn't matter. My dad raced up and down the highway, and he would always say, let's this is Marlton now, we gotta stop, cause the sheriff back then, you know, yeah, we gotta stop here. I was telling him, then Ozark, they're gonna jump out now and we gotta do this. They did stop him with the blue truck. I'll tell this and I'm gonna sit down. He was racing with that 71 pickup, and my dad told my mom and I to just be quiet. He said, "Oh, Helen, we're gonna get there now. It's 125 and we're just gonna roll right on off the exit." She said, "Okay, Parker, you're driving too fast." He rolled off the exit all right with the deputies up there. And they said, "Mr. Sloan, we appreciate what you're trying to do, but we don't think that you, your wife, your daughter," said, "it would be kind of strange, you know, if she didn't get to graduate like you want her to. You got to take your time, you know, so that we can all get here." And I remember my mom said, "I told you to slow down." Now, who was supposed to be talking? He said, he was telling her that all the truck's going to talk to me because I'm getting there. He meant with his foot, you know, the pedal to the metal. That's the way, you know, he wanted it to do. But anyway, they didn't arrest him or anything like that. They just said, "Mr. Sloan, please slow down." So I would like to, I told my husband, I said, I got to get there. This one's for Mom, and this one's for you, Dad, and that old blue pickup. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Hendricks. He deserves a special ovation because he just had cataract surgery.
She said her dad and folks were poor. He collected money, coins and stuff. He left her a fortune, and she don't know what to do with it.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to make a comment or a recollection or a remembrance? Okay, come on up.
Hi, I'm Myra Farmer Bone, class of '63, and I'm obviously one of the elders here today. And I think it's part of the duty of being an elder that you tell stories for the younger generation. And the beer stories reminded me that early one Sunday morning, there was some trouble on the railroad tracks, and several boxcars tipped over, and one was full of beer. And one of the boys should really be here telling the story because the Hendricks drums started drumming and the message got out fast and furiously, and people were coming and grabbing beer, and you're talking about hiding a few cans of beer. They were hiding cases. And then somehow or another, Mr. Merriweather found out about it. And he got on scene and he told the guys, "Okay, it's 8 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, all that beer has to be back here, or you know what's going to happen." And you know the fine Hendricks gentleman, all the beer was back by the railroad tracks. Yeah.
I'm Ron McDonald. Class of '73, and I believe that we had an Ann Landers that was a classmate. Yes, so we have, in this one class, we had Danny Thomas, Ann Landers, Jack Frost, and Ronald McDonald.
Would anyone else like to come forward with a story?
Hi, I'm Joe Coonan, class of '72. I'll try to make this really quick. I lived in Couch Hall on the wing that ran north and south, and I was on the back side of it facing Harkrider. So it was about, 100 feet or so from my window to, was that Front Street that went through? First road there. back in those days, everything worth anything was on Front Street. Walmart, Kroger, the sale barn, Guy Couch men's store, the movie theater, everything was down there. There wasn't no malls or any of that stuff. So, just so happened that the sale barn had their sale on Monday, and all the hillbillies from Faulkner County came in with pickup trucks full of cows on Sunday night to park in line so it'd be the first ones in the sale on Monday. Well, that went fine for a while, and they started backing up, you know. More and more trucks come. Well, pretty soon, there's no air conditioning in the dorms back then, so you got your windows open in warm weather or spring. And so on Sunday evening, if you didn't have your homework done and the library was closed already, you're out of luck because you had to have your windows open. And there was all this going on. And they're all stomping in the trucks, and the trucks are squeaking and rocking and rolling, and it smelled like a cow lot, you know, because in Conway, we got the sale barn right downtown.
I'm Buddy Poole. I happen to be president of the class of 63. Let me see all the 63 members that are here. Raise your hand. Class of 63. Not as many as we'd hoped for, but we got quality, if not quantity, for sure. Myra, I'm going to clean that story up just a little bit about the great train wreck because it's famous. Now, I got this personally from Dean Meriwether. I said, Dean, what actually happened that night? And here's what Dean Meriwether said. He said, Buddy, he said, I got a call from the police chief. He said, Dean Meriwether, we have a problem. He said, some boys from Miller Hall are stealing beer off that train and taking it to Miller Hall. And he said, you know, that's a federal offense. Not only does it get you excluded from Hendricks, but it gets you some other trouble, federal offense. And Bill Wilson, is Bill here today? Mule, are you here? He's not here with us, but anyway, we've always questioned him to see if the statute of limitations has run out on that thing. But he said, Chief, I'm sure there's a mistake. He said, I don't think the boys from Miller Hall would do anything like that. He said, I don't believe it's happening. So he said he hung up the phone and he called Mac. How many remember Mac? Anybody remember Mac? Yeah, the security guy. Famous, a legend. He said, Mac, some boys from Miller Hall are stealing beer from the train and they're storing it in Miller Hall. He said, I'm going to call Bob Cabe, who's president of the dorm. He said, I'm going to talk to him. He called Bob and he said, Bob, the police chief just called me and he said, I heard that some boys from Miller Hall were stealing beer and bringing it to Miller Hall. He said, I don't believe that. He said, and just to prove it, Mac and I are going to search the dorm in 20 minutes. I mean, in 20 minutes, we're going to be there and search the dorm. Now, they say the beer was flying out of that dorm like it's unbelievable. Everybody in the dorm. Was anybody in the dorm at that time? Raise your hand if you were. Well, I've got somebody. Was it flying out? Yeah, it was flying out. He said it was flying out, and he said, he called Mac, he said, okay, let's go over. I sure hope those boys have got the beer out of that dorm, because if they don't, there's going to be trouble. So they went through the dorm, and there wasn't a can of beer in the whole dorm. And he said, I called the police chief, and I said, Chief, I knew there was a mistake. He said, Mac and I have searched that dorm, and there's not a bottle or a can of beer in the whole dorm. And that's what really happened. That's the rest of the story.
Anyone else? Anyone else like to share a story? Well, we appreciate you sharing all your stories and about your time at Hendricks, and welcome to the club again. New members, you and your guests have a standing invitation to join us each and every year to welcome the incoming class. We hope to see you here next year to cheer on the class of 1974. We encourage you to participate in many other activities planned for this weekend, particularly the reception for the new Half Century Club members immediately following the luncheon in Galloway Parlor, still located in Galloway Hall. If you'd like to tour the campus, we have a tour today starting right after the reception from Galloway Lobby. This afternoon and evening, there are reunion parties for the classes of 1973, 1963, and 1998. If you are a member of one of these classes and would like more details, ask your classmates or a member of our office or staff. There is a Hendricks Women's Leadership Community Happy Hour from 4:30 to 6 in Dawkins, which is located right over here on top of what was once the infirmary. In Cabe Theater at 7:30 p.m., the Hendricks Senior Seminar is staging a production of Sagittarius Ponderosa. As with all student productions, admission is gratis. Tomorrow, check your name badge to see if you have a barbecue ticket or an Alumni Awards brunch ticket. If you do not have either ticket, see us after the lunch at the registration table, and we'll be happy to register you for all the events throughout the weekend. The Alumni Association Awards breakfast is at 10:30 here, like I mentioned before, and the barbecue is over in the Trishman, Fawcett, and Ellis Hall parking loop. So that's where the barbecue is located. Dr. Jay McDaniel and faculty emeritus, along with Amy Forbes, class of 96, are members of the Fat Soul Band. I can't say it fast. Fat Soul Band, and they will be playing from 11:30 to 1. Tomorrow afternoon in Mills A, retiring faculty members will be giving last lectures to alumni. Dr. Peg's Fall Corbett begins at 1 o'clock, and Dr. J. Barth follows at 2:15. At 3:30, join us in Dawkins Welcome Center, right over there, for an alumni farewell reception for President Arnold. Raise a glass to toast him and his retirement, and have a bite or two to eat. Saturday night, there are reunion parties for the classes of 1963, 1983, 2003, 2008, 2013, 2021, and 2022. Sunday, the Alumni Memorial Service is in Green Chapel at 10:30, and there will be a coffee in Butler Plaza before the service. Your registration for Alumni Weekend includes Sunday lunch in the Epley Dining Hall upstairs in this building following the worship service. We hope you'll attend some of these outstanding events planned for the weekend. In a minute, we will sing the alma mater, but I do need help from anyone who is a member of the choir. So if you would come forward if you were a member of the choir. Yeah.
The women's event is in Murphy.
Oh, Dawkins, okay. I do have a correction, and I apologize. The women's leadership happy hour is in Murphy instead of in Dawkins. It's moved to Murphy for a bigger group. Okay. If you are in the choir, if you'd come forward, we have the words printed for the alma mater on the back. Jack Frost, you're being called out by Cecilia Patterson to come sing. Okay. Yes. That's right.
Do you want us to use the mic?
Well, I think if you sing over here, because I think that the mic will blast. Okay. After we sing the alma mater and after the benediction, we would like to have classes. We would like to have class pictures for the reunion years for 53, 58, 63, and 68. And then 73, we're going to go to those infamous chairs over there to your right to get organized for your picture. Okay. Are y'all ready to start singing?
I think we are.
Okay. I'm going to move this up right here.
We will love thee through the years to come, as we love thee now today.
now, in the spirit of Hendrix, which is with us wherever we may be, let us go forth in service and joy.